Okay, so this video is going to be for the engineering design class. Specifically, we're going to start with the angle arm on this one. The cam bracket we went through in class, but I'll post a video for that later this week. At the meantime, I want to go ahead and do the angle arm, looking at this drawing here. Now, I know there was some confusion during class about what exactly we're looking at, so I did go ahead and pull this up. I'm going to explain it through SolidWorks so you understand what you're seeing here. So basically, we got an angle arm here, okay, with some pocket cuts, like these things here and here, on both sides, and then a through-all cuts on the inside of this circle here, and these two holes here. Now, in this case, what they're asking for is simply the mass, so I'm not really concerned about where my origin is going to be, but in my design, I'm going to go ahead and have the origin dead center of this large circle, and then I'm going to do a lot of mid-plane extruding here, because I'm going to take this side here and mirror it to the other side when I'm done, and you can see that kind of over here. So on my initial first time of doing this part, I was able to do it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. So I'm going to try for 7 or less steps to get this part complete. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull up that drawing again. So I'm going to slide back. I'm going to pull this to my other screen so I have a view. And I'm going to come back into my SolidWorks and start by opening a new metric part. Now I'll keep this part open in the background as a way to check that I'm on the right path. Okay, so I'm going to go here to File, New, Metric, and OK. Now again, I'm going to start this on the front plane, make it really simple. This is a part that's a lot of this is going to be mirrored over that front plane, so I'm going to use the front plane quite a bit, again emphasizing that mid-plane extrusion. So I'm going to start off on a sketch on the front plane, and I'm going to start off with the large outside circle. So I'm going to go ahead and make one big circle here. Looking at the thicknesses of all of them, I'm going to do these two circles kind of together since they are both at 40 millimeters, whereas the other one's only at 22. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to add that second circle right there. I'm going to keep this one as a solid disc. That way when I start doing the other pieces, I'll just cut out of that. But I'm going to start at this point by adding in smart dimensions. Specifically, this outside circle right here, I'm going to put in the same spot as my front view has a dimension. It's at 100 millimeters. This one here has an inside diameter of 30 and an outside diameter of 60. And the distance between the center of this circle here and this far left circle over here will be at 130. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is just make sure, because if you look at the front view, these are on the same line. Okay, so they're on the same horizontal line. So I'm going to make them have a horizontal relationship between these two. Horizontal, and now they're both fully defined. Now, what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to create a midplane. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and do a features, extrude boss base. Now, I'm going to go to midplane right away and make these at 40 millimeters and hit my check mark. Now actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that back for a second. I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to add one more piece to this. Okay, so I'm getting out of this, going back to normal 2. Because if you recall, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and show you the other one. I can also add in these little holes right here. I can do a quick offset, do a temporary circle right here to build around this, and I can, when I do my extrusion, these will end up being hollow. So I can save a step right there by creating these two pockets right now in this view. And again, I'm trying for efficiency, so I want to get as many things done in as least amount of steps as possible. Okay, so I'm going to go back in and add that in there. To do that, I'm actually going to go to my sketch tool and draw a temporary circle. And what I mean by that is I'm going to go here and draw that secondary circle that will eventually become a pocket. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this circle a construction circle by coming to the left and saying for construction. That way SolidWorks isn't going to see it and it's not going to confuse the computer. All right, now I'm going to dimension this one at 40 millimeters, well 44 millimeters. It's going to be horizontal to the origin, so I'm going to add a relationship there. And the distance from the origin will be 20 millimeters. So from origin to center will be 20 millimeters. And again, I'm placing this all in the same spots. Now the reason I did that is this will give me a point where I'm going to do an offset. Okay, so what I'm going to basically create here is I'm going to create an outside circle here And this circle here I'll keep solid because this one is going to have a radius of 25. All right, now I'm going to end up having to trim most of this, so that's going to give me a diameter of 50. I am then going to go ahead and create another circle that is going to be from the center. This circle is going to be at a radius of 40, which is a diameter of 80. Now from there, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a center line here. I'm going to attach these two circles to that center line. That's what you see in the drawing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an offset entities. I'm going to do 10, let me see, I need that to be 5 millimeters. And I'm going to do bidirectional, which means I'm going to go both ways. And I'm going to click that line right there. Okay? So now when I hit my check mark, really what I got to do is just get my trim tools to get the shape to take form. So I'm going to trim and get rid of all this excess line here and here and here. Get rid of this. On this side and here, I'm going to basically get rid of this part here and here. I'm going to keep this, trim this off, and here, and this back part off. Okay, I'm going to trim these pieces off here, and here, and here, 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 and here. Okay, so I'm going to actually get rid of that line and that line. Okay, now I'll go ahead and add that back in. It's 5 millimeters to this point here, and 10 millimeters in between. And I'm going to add those two dimensions in so they are in the correct spot. Okay, now I know you see these as rounds. This will get taken care of when we add our fillets at the end. Now if you want to go with some sketch fillets and save a step, you could. We can play with that right now by just simply going into your fillets, and I think it says, do we have any identification on our fillets in there? Yes, it says radius of 5. There are 6 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my fillet tool here. They're going to be a radius of 5 millimeters. And I'm just going to start clicking on corners. Here, here, and here. This is number 4, 5, 6. Check. Okay, so there is your pocket cuts. Or there are your pocket cuts. Not even pocket cuts. These are cut through alls. Okay, now, at this point, I can go in and do my 40 millimeter extrusion. So I'm going to go to Features, Extrude Boss Base, Mid-Plane, 40 millimeters, and check. So now you've got those two cuts already taken care of. So in one step, we got a big chunk of this done. Now I'm going to make the 1020 steel as the material. AISI 1020. Apply and close. Alright, Control Save. I'm going to save this for me on my desktop. I'm going to do caps lock, angle arm, underscore my last name. Alright, so now I'm going to go back to my front plane and start another sketch. Spacebar normal to. Now in this case what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the other extrusion up above. So I'm going to create the double circles here. Now I'm also going to go ahead and use a center line to connect from this point to here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another center line off of that. That's going to allow me to go straight out. And so what I'm going to do is create a 51-degree angle between this angled line and this horizontal. 51 degrees. I will dimension this inside circle to 21. And this outside circle to 50. The distance between this point and my center of the circle, I got to kind of get this to match the line, will be 127 millimeters. And I'll pull this down a little bit. Alright, so now in this case what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to extrude this one out mid-plane at 22 millimeters. So Features, Extrude, Mid-Plane. I'll rotate so you can see it. And I will put this at 22 millimeters. And hit my check mark. Control Save. Alright, so now what I want to do is start building in the pieces in between these. Okay, so I'm going to end up using the front plane again with another mid-plane extrusion. So this is step 2, going on to step 3. So again, do a front plane, start a new sketch, spacebar, normal 2. Now in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start using my line tool, and I'm just going to start kind of drawing along. I'm just going to kind of roughly draw kind of something like this, and you'll notice I'm not quite touching. And I'm doing that for a reason, because I don't want to lock onto things. I'm going to actually just kind of draw where this gets close, and then I'm going to draw another line, and what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to get these lines defined, and hopefully you're thinking ahead with tangent relationships. Okay, so I'm going to start by going here, Control key in this, and do a tangent. I'm going to do the same thing here to here. That will be a tangent. Okay, this one here, I'm going to actually pull it down a little bit so it's out of the way. This line in this circle will be tangent. This circle, or line and circle, will be tangent. Okay, same thing over here, just repeating this over and over. All right, I do it this way for me because I get a lot of times I'll put that on there, and what will happen is it will like shoot to the other side, and it's like you have to rebuild and things. So I just want to kind of get this done. And then what I have to do to make this work is I'm going to have to go to each one of these circles, hit the edge, and do convert entities, edge, convert entity, edge, convert entities. Okay. Now what that's going to allow me to do now is to come in here and trim off these pieces here. Okay, trim off this, this. I don't think I need this back here. Nope, I don't. I'm going to trim off this piece up here. I'll look closely. Yep, I can trim that off. And then I'm going to trim off this back side. So there is the inside pieces. Okay, now you'll notice this one's still not fully defined. We have to go in here and actually figure out, I'm going to actually have to add in on this one a fillet. I'm going to have to do a feature fillet. Not feature, excuse me. A sketch fillet of 12 millimeters. I'm going to hit this right here and my check mark. Okay, now this center mark is where they're actually measuring. So the measurement you'll see in that front view is from this center of the circle to that center mark, and that is supposed to be 100 millimeters. Okay, so it gets that going there. And then from this here to this here will be to the left 56 millimeters. So now I have this is fully defined. Okay, now if you go to the drawing here, let me pull this back over. We're going to extrude this 5 millimeters, 5 millimeters, 8 millimeters, a total thickness of 18 millimeters. Okay, then we're going to have to actually come back and pocket cut 5 millimeters back. So it's going to be 18 millimeters thick. Then we're going to cut in here, in these little pockets here, we'll go back 5 millimeters before adding our fillets. Okay, so let's put that into play. So I'm going to go over here, do a mid-plane extrusion, features, extrude boss base. I'm going to go to mid-plane, and we're going 18 millimeters. I'm going to hit my check mark. So this is what I'm now looking at. Okay? I'm going to do a control save, so I at least got to there. Now again, I'm going to do a pocket cut on both of these parts. Okay, I'm also going to be, and that pocket cut's going to be 5 millimeters in. So I'm going to do a pocket cut on this face right here. And then what I'll do is I'll do another pocket cut here. Okay. And actually, you know what? I should have done one more step. I'm going to pause here real quick. And I just realized I messed this up. I'm going to go back to my original sketch for a second. So you want to jump back? I'm going to go back to normal view. And I'm going to add, I forgot about these circles. These holes also go all the way through. So I'm going to create a circle here, and I'm going to do a quick pattern. There are diameter 8, 7 holes, and they go through all. So they're going to be on a 30 millimeter base circle. All right, so I'm actually going to add those in now. So when I do my mid-plane extrusion, they're already there. I totally forgot about this. So I'm going to correct myself right now. So I'm going to go there, and again, do for construction. This one, though, is going to be a 30 millimeter circle. And then on that circle, I'm going to start with one little circle right here. Okay, that circle is going to be a diameter 8. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a circular sketch pattern the first parameter I'm going to pick, this right here, is going to go right there in that center. And then I'm going to pick 7 of these. And the thing I want to pattern is going to be this little circle. Now, this goes back to last year. This is all review. We did a lot of this stuff in the beginning of the year. We still are using these throughout these subsequent courses. So now if I go into my check mark, now again, you could go through and try to define them all. A lot of times it's just adding a relationship between a center mark and one of these circles and making it coincident. And then doing a couple of them, like this one to that one. And a lot of times then it will fully define them all. You do not have to, on a pattern, change that, okay? Now if I come out of this, there are those holes now. Okay, so I just saved myself another step there. All right, so now jumping back to what I was talking about, now I want to create the pocket cut here and here. Okay, and what I'll do once I get those pocket cuts, I'll do one more here, so that'll be my 5th step, and then I'm going to mirror those over. Or actually, I'll do my fillets and then mirror all those over. Okay, it'll make sense in a second. So I'm going to highlight this face right here, start a new sketch, do a space bar and a normal 2. Now I'm going to have to use some offset entities here. Okay, so I'm going to start by going here, and I'm going to turn my offset entities at 10 millimeters. I'm going to click on that line. I don't want bidirectional. I want to reverse my direction and hit my check mark. I'm going to continue. I'm going to pin this down. I'm going to do this line here in reverse. I'm going to do this line here. Check. And this line here. Check. Once again, I'm going to do a convert. Oops, nope, I didn't want that. Once again, I'm going to come here and highlight this edge. Convert entity. I'm going to go to this circle here. Convert entity. Go to this circle here and convert entity. All right. Now, turn on your trim tool and trim off what you don't need. Come up here. Okay. So there now are my 2 pockets. Okay. And I know they don't look like they're defined, but they are. They're fully defined. And if you want at this point to save yourself some time also, I'll go this way, normal 2. We could actually add in our outside fillets here. Okay. And these fillets, I believe, where are you? 6 by R5, 8 by R5. Okay, so these are radius 5 also. So I'm going to do a fillet, 5 millimeters. And now what I'm going to do is just click on each of these corners. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hit my check mark. Okay, so there is that pocket. Now what I'm going to do real quick here is I'm going to go ahead and do a features extruded cut, and I'm going to cut those in 5 millimeters and hit my check mark. Okay, so there's the pocket. Now I'm going to hit this face right here. So that was step 4. Here's step number 5. Okay, so I'm going to do this in 7 steps is where it's going to get. I'm going to go here and start a sketch and do a space bar and a normal 2. Now on here, I'm going to simply go ahead and draw a circle. That circle will be locked to that center. I'm just going to pull a circle around. And this circle will be at a diameter of 44 millimeters. Okay, that's all I have to do. Now I'm going to cut extrude this 3 millimeters in. So features, extruded cut, I'm going to cut that in at 3, not 5, 3 millimeters. And hit my check mark. Okay, so there's your pockets. Now, I'm going to do a control save because I'm almost done with this part. So all I have to do is add my fillets and then mirror everything over, and this will be done. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a 2.5 millimeter fillet here. All right, so I'm going to go to features, fillets, 2.5 millimeters, and hit this face. Okay, hit that face. Hit your check mark, and there are your fillets. Okay, that's all you had to do, real fast. The last step now is I'm going to do a feature mirror. So I'm going to go to mirror tool, mirror face or plane. I'm going to mirror this around, fly out menu, front plane, features to mirror. Okay, it's going to be cut extrude 1, cut extrude 2, and fillets. So what it's going to do, it's going to take all those and mirror them to the other side. And just like that, your part is now complete. Okay, so again, if you look at this one here, I'm going to go to a trimetric view so we can get a little bit better orientation. All right, so there are my pockets. There were those cuts. You know,